Brooklyn Independent Television.
It is nearly impossible to describe Joe Coleman in just a few sentences. A painter, performance artist, and musician all rolled into one. And that barely scratches the surface of his world. Perhaps a glimpse at his auditorium will help.
My paintings are like books, so it's a narrative art, the way I paint. Like primarily, I'm a portrait painter, but not in any traditional sense, because in my portraits, the whole life is being presented on the surface. And, I research the person's life, and there's so many images and so much text in the paintings that you need to spend time with it and journey with the painting, but in a different way than you do with a book or a movie. With one of my paintings, it's so dense with information, you have to choose where you're going to go. You might read a little bit of the text here, and you might look at this image, and then the more you look, the more you find, because there's worlds within worlds within worlds. But it's all up to the viewer, and the more they look, the more they're going to find. I was raised Irish Catholic, and my mother would take me to St. Mary's Church, and in the church there would be the Stations of the Cross done in relief, going towards this altar with a guy being nailed to the cross. And the Stations of the Cross were very brutal, and it was like a horror movie. And as a child, I was fascinated by it, and I made these drawings that were copies of the Stations of the Cross. My mom gave me a pencil and crayons. I did the figures with the pencil, and the only crayon I used was a red crayon for the blood. Like a little kid that's doing, paintings of garbage and tortured saints was okay, but when I became a teenager, all of a sudden it's like, this kid's got problems. And so then it became more of a problem, but it was always like my outlet, and whether the world understood what I was doing, I always knew that it was like a calling, I paint on wood. I sand it and get it so smooth, that when I paint on it, I use, jeweler's lenses and what's called a one-hair brush, but it's actually two hairs. And, I paint for 8 hours a day, often just on a square inch. When I start the piece, there is no sketching. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I just can complete a square inch at a time. Then I add another and another and another. And as I'm doing that, I'm also researching the subject. And as I'm researching it, it comes through me. I learn something and immediately is put on, so it grows organically. And the only way I know that a painting is finished is when I run out of room and there's no place left to paint. So I find things that, that are in me, in order to, carve in there and get inside of the subject. And, by that, I'm also learning about myself in the process. To me, it's what I am, and I can't separate that from myself. And the art expresses itself not just in painting, but in all the other things that I do, in acting.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've got genuine Fiji mermaids, ossified, petrified, and mummified.
I live my art. Every bit, of my life is part of, of my art.
Welcome to the auditorium. This is Joe's collection that he's been collecting this for many decades, and it's his collection of curious and wonderful things. And the more we collect, the more furniture we throw away. We fell in love basically over our mutual love of medical curiosities, wax figures, crime artifacts, taxidermy.
You know, it's great to have somebody, you know, in your life that's so precious, you know. And I went through, you know, many years where life was not so good, but you know, when Whitney came into my life, it really changed. It's like today when I wake up and she's in my life, yeah, I'd like to live, you know, for 1,000,000 years. It used to be. I hope my life's gonna end soon because I can't take it.
What guy listens to their wife say, I love sloths. Do you know how much I love sloths? He takes me to Costa Rica so I can see a sloth. He gets me one for my anniversary. We can't have a live one. So he gets me a beautiful taxidermied sloth.
I like Brooklyn Heights in particular, even though it's a fancier neighborhood. I like that about it too, but it has this certain untouched quality about it. I mean, you walk down Henry Street and you'll see like working gas lamps that are still on. And it feels, you know, as if you're still in the Victorian era, and I feel like I'm always in the Victorian era. It just feels like old New York. The painting, you know, is a living being, you know, and it tells me what to paint. And it'll reveal itself to you. It's almost like an archaeological dig because it's as if the painting is always there and I'm revealing it. It's always been hidden there. And the more I chip away with paint, it's actually building up on the surface, but in some strange way, it's actually being revealed.
Brooklyn Independent Television on the BCAT TV network.